What's up guys and welcome back. Today in this video we're going to be starting the first issue of the brand new Bloodborne comic series, The Veil Torn Asunder. Now, as with all of the other ones, this is a 4-part series consisting of issues 13 to 16, and once again this is all created by Kott, Kalinske and Simpson. As with the other series, if you haven't checked them out, I normally start with the issue covers before I get into the review of the actual comic. So first up is cover A. Now this one is a more of like a pop art comic-y sort of cover, and we have a hunter jumping in front of the moon, and below him we have like the oncoming crowds of people in Yharnam, like the people with the pitchforks and the fire staffs, and you can see like the spires of the buildings around the corner. So it's very appealing, like symmetrical wise. You can see like he's very central in the middle of the thing, just jumping down ready to swipe. I'm not sure what this actually has to do with the story, because from what I've read it seems to be totally disconnected from what I've read so far. So this is cover A. Now cover B, I think this one is my favourite of these. This is like a portrait picture. I'm not sure what the area is supposed to be. It seems to be inside someone's house, at least like a home. We have like this could possibly be like a ram's head or maybe the arm of a chair. But in the portrait picture we have Amygdala, one of the bosses in the game, looking like it's crawling down a building. Now this one seems more in tune with what this story is probably going to be about. But yeah, it's very cool. It's like a little sort of like boss art gallery, I guess. So hopefully we get to see something more like this in the story, and we see his hands like creeping out from the portrait, so that really goes into the veil, I guess, breaking beyond the veil. So yeah, I really like this cover. Now last but not least we have cover C here, and this one depicts a hunter facing down Amygdala on a building, which seems to be pretty much the same sort of shot as the one we've seen in the previous one in the portrait. This one, it says game art, so I'm not sure if this one is taken directly from the game, like a piece of concept art, but it looks very cool. We have like the little clock tower in the background, and yeah, we have a hunter and Amygdala. So yeah, like I said, this one really doesn't feed into what the comic is so far, I guess, because we don't really see just a standard hunter, but standard hunter is a staple of the game, so you can't complain about that being on the front cover. So let's get on with the review of this issue. I had no idea what this story was going to be about. Like with the other ones, you kind of guessed it with the Healing Church, obviously the Healing Church, and the Song of Crow. It's going to be about Eileen the Crow. Now this one, I didn't really know what to expect other than it being about the Veil, so I'm assuming it's to do with like different worlds and the cosmic side of things. And one of the first things we do see in this issue here, issue 13, is that we are introduced to a brand new character, which we can presume is going to be like the main character or the focal point of this series. I don't think we were given a name, but he's some sort of a traveller, I guess, or an adventurer. I like to call him the Adventurer, and he is someone who is not really from Yharnam. He's drawn to cultural places and places of like historical and just, yeah, like cultural places that are unique, and he's found Yharnam and he wants to explore Yharnam and find out what makes it so grotesque and unique. He sees how everywhere has like a distinct smell and a distinct feeling. So I guess this is one of the first times we get to see a outsider come into Yharnam who doesn't really have experience with living there the whole life or knows what's going on, but he definitely has a feeling that something is not right here and he wants to get to the bottom of it. And one of the things they mention in like the first couple of pieces of dialogue with him is that it's about like there only being one universe, and his journey into Yharnam, he feels like he can prove that there is definitely more than one universe or reality going on at the same time. In this comic we see flashbacks to his earlier life in different places, it seems, and they're also in dreams, and we see one which is like a full-page spread of him in like a battle setting in the aftermath of what looks like to be a war, and there's like dead bodies everywhere, and it's just so unlike anything we've seen in Bloodborne with these people in like armour, and he almost looks like the Dracula Untold, or like the old Dracula from the beginning of the 90s movie where they had like the Ottoman sort of Turkish Empire armour, and it did look really cool, but it looks so different from what we've seen in Yharnam. So I'm not sure if this takes place anywhere near Yharnam, if this is like a different sort of culture aspect we haven't seen in the game yet, because the only really hierarchy sort of things we see in the Bloodborne game is when we go to Cainhurst Castle, which seems dreamy in its own like essence. So I'm interested to find out where this takes place, and if this is somewhere near Yharnam or if this is just anywhere in the world in a different part of his travels. Definitely does remind me of like the sort of Romanian, Turkish, Ottoman sort of empire with the types of armour and stuff, the shoulder plate. And the colour scheme of this one is very like very orange, like that. With the last series we saw a lot of purples and pinks, and this one it seems to be very sun and red and orangey colours, and you see that in the traveller, the adventurer's clothing as well. He's wearing very red clothes. There's one particular panel where he's walking down the streets of Yharnam and everyone's just wearing like the drab, like grey and brown clothes, and he's walking down the centre in his like bright red t-shirt, red top, and yeah, just it definitely gives you the feel that this guy's not from around these parts. With the reds we see a lot of stuff. We see them pouring like wine into a goblet, and just a lot of red and a lot of orange. I'm not sure if they're going for the theme of like blood or lust or like royalty or something, but it's definitely a welcome change after the colour schemes we've seen in the previous series. We see another dream slash flashback in this where the man is diving and he's wearing like one of those really old like nautical diving suits, and I'm not sure where he is or what he's doing, if he's in Yharnam or not, but that's a very integral scene to this series, I guess, with the Veil. He finds something down there that he doesn't expect to see, and honestly I don't really know what that is or the location. You could probably, if it is in Yharnam, you could expect it to be in the Moonside Lake, obviously with him being underwater, but I'm leaving that one up to speculation. I'm not really too sure at the moment. It would make sense for them to be coming into contact with something in that area with where it is compared to like Bergenworth and yeah, obviously the Moonside Lake with Rom and things like that. We have a beautiful piece of art in this section as well where it's not really a spoiler or anything, but you see him, he's lifted out of the water and you can just see him like hovering above the lake, but his face is blacked out, so it's just completely black. I'm not sure if that's to show like the sort of horror he's just seen. And in the background we have the clouds as well, so it's just a very atmospheric shot. You'd imagine it to be in like the middle of a thunderstorm or something. The adventurer keeps mentioning this piece of script that he keeps reading, but he can't really read it. I'm not sure if that's because it's in a different language or if it's just the ramblings of a mad person, but I'm really intrigued to find out what that is and what sort of language it is. Maybe it's like, is it Numerian language from the old ones underneath the city and the tunnels and stuff, so I'm intrigued to see where that goes and whether that plays into the whole cosmic side of things with the Bergenworth scholars and William and stuff like that. It seems that the adventurer reading the script and trying to figure it out is also somehow connected to the slip of the veil or whatever he's seeing, because he seems to be seeing things all over Yharnam that weren't there, and you kind of have to question whether Yharnam is actually normal and people are just seeing a different reality, or if just him seeing the veil has let things out. It's really ambiguous about what it expects you to think, because you don't know if the guy's going crazy or if he's been transferred to another reality, or if he's just seeing things that he didn't before because of this scripture. And I guess that's what they want the audience to feel. They want the audience to figure out like what's actually going on. Are they insane, or is this actually happening? The adventurer tries to figure out what's going on because he just doesn't really have a clue about what he's seen, and he actually visits a tarot card reader in this one, and they bring out 3 cards, one of them being the Tower, the Moon and the Star, and I'm really intrigued to figure out what those 3 mean. Obviously with the Moon you would presume it has something to do with the moon presence or the pale blood moon, and then the Star could have something to do with the cosmic side of things, with the creatures such as Amygdala and the celestial emissary and things like that. The Tower, not too sure about at all, but if you have any thoughts about this, let me know down in the comments section. So overall, that's all I've got to say about this issue. I'm very intrigued to see where it's going. I'm loving the new colour scheme. I'm loving the aspects we've seen of things outside of Yharnam, if they are actually outside of Yharnam, and I'm enjoying that we have like a sole character to focus on who seems to want to know the things that we want to know. So it's been a great first issue of this so far. This has been issue 13 of Bloodborne. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these. There'll be issue 14, 15 and 16. There is actually another cover to issue 13, which is this one, but it's not released for a couple of weeks, so I will be throwing that one on with the video for the next issue, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If this is your first time checking out my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and check out the rest of my content, because I do have a full series of the 3 previous Bloodborne comic series and plenty of stuff like that. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I guess I will see you guys with issue 14 next month.